Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life of Barney. And today, by popular demand, we're making beef ribs. These beef ribs look absolutely incredible. They've got so much marbling. There's a lot of different sections of fat along the top, and this big, thick piece of meat between each one of the bones. I almost don't want to wait until they're done. I just want to eat them. I know that sounds weird. They look so good. There's so much meat, beautiful marbling. These things are going to smoke up very nicely. And if you haven't done it before, you tuned in at the right time because I'm going to show you. I just did a batch last week. They turned out fantastic. The name of the game, we'll do a thin layer of mustard, very thin layer. This gives the rub something nice to hold on to. It'll give a little hint of mustard flavor, not too much. We'll get the rub on there, top and bottom. Once we get out to the smoker, and the Weber Smoky Mountain's just out there getting ready, warming up right now. But once we get out there, we're aiming somewhere north of 250 degrees. I'm okay with 275-ish if we hold that temperature. If we end up with something around 200 degrees, and very tender, where you can take your probe and it just slides right into the meat, we'll know that they're done. I'm anticipating it's going to take about 6.5 hours at that 275 range. When they're done, we'll wrap them in tin foil, take them off the smoker, and just let them rest for about half an hour. They don't need a really long rest time. If you want to, you absolutely can. Tin foil, wrap them in a towel, throw them in your cooler, whatever the case, and just let them rest for a couple hours if you want to as well. It'll just let that fat render down that much more. That part is totally up to you. Ribs are all rubbed up now. By the way, because I didn't tell you, the rub I used today, I just threw it together myself. I reuse an old seasoning container. It is your typical salt, pepper, garlic. I also put in a bunch of brown sugar, hot paprika, some cayenne pepper. That's it. And it's going to turn out delicious. I used the same rub when I did these ribs last week. It was fantastic. I got a nice bark to set up and everything. Actually, I'll show you a picture of them right now. And they were just super succulent, beautiful bark. I'm going to go out to the Weber Smoky Mountain and get these on. Don't forget, folks, I always like to keep a watch with me so I can keep an eye on the time. It just makes my life a lot less hectic when I'm wondering how long they've been on for. I'll see you outside. As you guys who have been subscribed for a while know, I have the Weber Smoky Mountain 18.5-inch smoker. I love it. Most of the time I'm not filling up all the racks, so having the smaller size smoker is not a big deal. But when you really notice it is when you try and do something larger like ribs, where the whole rack will take up the entire grill. It's important to note when you put it in there, don't let either side touch the edges of the smoker, because the pieces that touch the edge won't cook. And you get a little nasty bit on the end of your ribs, and look how nice they look, and they're not even cooked yet, so you don't want to waste any of the meat, right? Here we go. close this up. I'll probably check on them around the 3-hour mark. I am going to do a spritz today. Haven't figured out what I'll use. Maybe a little apple cider vinegar or something like that. But I'll make that decision when we get to that point. I'll see you guys in a few hours. Hey everybody, welcome back. We're at about the not quite 3.5-hour mark. Believe it or not, we've actually been going for closer to 4 and a bit hours, but something was going on with the charcoal. I guess because I had a mixture of some old charcoal that's been sitting there for a few days and it's been raining all week with the new charcoal on top. I had a hard time getting it up to temp. I had to disassemble, let everything get white hot again before reassembling. I haven't been able to get it beyond 225. So it is what it is. Lesson learned: before you start up your Weber Smoky Mountain, take out your old charcoal if it's just little small pieces. Get rid of whatever's sitting in the bottom. Start fresh. It's a safe bet. I mean, unless you have a lot of good looking charcoal still sitting in there, just start fresh. Lesson learned. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. 225 just means these are going to take longer, but they're going to be just as smoky and just as delicious as if I did it at 275. All right? Now, let's have a little viewing. Beep beep, Scout. Oh, outstanding. Got some nice bark setting up. Oh yeah, that's good. Passes the scratch test. How's Buddy underneath? Not bad at all. Actually, the one underneath looks really good. How are we tenderness? Oh, look at that. These are going to be good. They're only halfway done. These are going to be good. All right. Can't find my spritzing bottle, so what I've done is I've put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in a small bowl, and I have my barbecue brush, or my basting brush. I'm just going to put a few drops on, rub it around, hope for the best. I did that the last time, a week ago. I said I did a batch of these. I used pineapple juice. Turned out great. You don't want to overdo it, just a little bit, just to pull in a little bit of moisture, and that's all you need. We're just past the 6-hour mark. Good news. Once I put a little more charcoal on, gave it some time to breathe and fully heat up, I was able to maintain 250 for the remainder of the smoke. I just brought out the thermometer a little while ago. We're sitting around 185 degrees Fahrenheit, which means these probably only have about 20 or so minutes left, which means we're in the final stretch where we can now put just that little bit, very thin layer of barbecue sauce on there. So why don't you guys come in and take a look. Maybe look at the bark on this, and you'll all see it when we go inside how nicely the bark's set up. But wow, and they smell absolutely incredible. I brought the one from the lower grill, put it on the upper grill just for this last hour. There's usually about a 10-degree difference or so between the top grill and the bottom, so to finish them off, I want them as close to being the same temperature as possible. Now look, when I say putting a thin layer of sauce, I really do mean just a thin layer of sauce, and you only want to do it at the tail end. I can thank the manager of Baines Barbecue up in Sarnia, Ontario for this tip. One of the things I used to do, folks, I used to just slather the sauce on. The problem is, when you've got way too much sugar in the sauce while it's on the smoker, you go from a nice candied up type of sauce to a rock hard, nasty, burnt flavor very quickly. So now I know, wait till the end, a very thin layer. It's what I did last time and they turned out amazing. I'm going to get these finished up. I will see you folks when these are done. These are looking absolutely amazing. I would love to just dig into them, but I'm gonna wrap them. I'm gonna let them rest just for a little bit and take them out and dig in. See you guys in just a minute. You know what? Why don't you guys come in here and get this close-up view of how amazing these look. That bark is awesome. I noticed in a couple of my last smokes, I just couldn't get a bark to set. I did some more research. Turns out I was actually not putting nearly as much rub on as I thought. Now that I've been a little bit more generous, you can see it's set up quite nicely. And the addition of the sauce just at the end has candied it up. Look, it'll just barely scratch off the surface. Oh man, these are going to be good. I have a tip for you when you're cutting. I learned this the last time. The bone here at the end looks nothing like it does on the other end, which are the long, thin bones. They have a big knob on the end, so you have to be careful when you're cutting. You can't cut straight through. At the end, you just have to tweak your knife to the side to get around it. And around to the side, and down. Look at how juicy these look. Oh my goodness. And they're still super hot, which is really good. Nice having a hot meal. I know Holly's hungry. We're eating a little later than we normally would. Right on. Taste impressions, initial thoughts. Holly says it tastes a lot smokier than the last time. I did them a week ago, I said that. I agree. Now, I used black cherry wood this time. I don't think I mentioned that before. Not overpowering by any means. Definitely didn't make it bitter. Super juicy. Look, the longer I talk, the colder everything's going to get. So here's what I'll leave you with, folks. If you've done beef ribs before, tell me in the comment section below what I do differently, what you do differently, and if you have any tips, let me know. I always like to try new recipes, especially from people who are in the barbecue community. Let me know in the comment section down below. Hit the like button, show me some support, folks. I'm really appreciative of my subscribers. I'm up to 114 now, which is just awesome. I'm really happy. Thank you very much to the subscribers. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't tell my parents I was smoking in the backyard. I'll see you next time.